What's up, everybody? I'm here. I'm live. It's noon. I hope you're joining me. I am going to let this algorithm do its thing and tell you all that I am live and hope that you will join me today. So, today's topic, as you can see, is 3 tips, 2 experiences, and 1 mission. And some of y'all might be like, what in the heck is Kelly talking about today with this foolishness? Well, it actually came to me this morning. So if you listen to me, sometimes you'll hear me say that spirit tells me things. And so I knew I wanted to go live today, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go live about. I knew some of the things, but I didn't know like the entire thing. And so before I went to bed last night, I I asked Spirit to download for me in the morning what I wanted, what I should talk about, and what I should bring to you all today. So what I got was 3 tips, 2 experiences, and 1 mission. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the 3 tips are going to be around being powerful, not perfect. So I have a confession because I'm a perfectionist. So I'm like the one of the perfect people to be talking to you about being powerful, not perfect. But before we get in, and as we wait for people to come on live, if you join me live, say hello. If you join me on the replay, just say hello. Still say hello. Comment. Let me know your thoughts about anything. I love to chat. I love to have conversations. So for those of you who don't know or who are new to me, I am Kelly Charles Collins. I am a high stakes communications expert and strategist. I'm also a retired employment law trial attorney. So I practiced law for over 2 decades as a trial lawyer representing companies in employer-employee relations issues in state and federal courts around the country. And I actually also used to practice law in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Yeah, I'm licensed there. So that was fun. I used to get to travel there all the time. But right now, I transitioned out of the full-time practice of law at the end of 2019, started full-time entrepreneurship in 2020, which we all know what happened in 2020. But because I had positioned myself, which is one of the things we'll talk about today, I did well during the pandemic with my business. And my business is incorporates a couple of different things, but all with the foundation of communication and making sure that my clients are powerful, influential communicators. So I work primarily with 3 groups. One is corporations, and corporations, I help them, their leaders and their teams to build their communication skills. I always say to equip them with world-class skills so that they can communicate with clarity, confidence, and credibility. I do that through keynotes and also through workshops, right? Interactive, immersive workshops. So that's one of my clients, ideal clients is corporations. The other is women leaders. Women leaders. This now, y'all are my favorite. I just have this real deep, my friends know this all the time, like this real deep desire for women to win and to ensure that women's value is not erased. And so I'm always thinking about what are the things that I can do? What can I share from my experiences, my expertise to help women, right? Help other women. And that's whether you're in the corporate space or you're in the entrepreneurial space. Like, what are the things that you need in order to be really powerful and influential in your space so that you can be successful? And so, working with women, you'll hear one of the things that I'm doing, which is going to be in the 2 experiences. I just launched it yesterday called After Hours. So we'll talk about that. But I'm also developing a women's leadership program, and I haven't decided what the name is going to be, but it's really about ensuring that women own their vision, their voice, their visibility, and their value. So you may have heard me talk about the V suite. I call it the V suite: vision, voice, visibility, and value. Those four things are vitally important, especially for women to understand and to own in order to be powerful, in order to be influential, right? Not perfect. And so women are my, like, that is my mission, that is my legacy. Work is to really empower women to be powerful. And then the third client that I work with are speakers or aspiring speakers. And I'll say this: aspiring professional speakers. And the reason I make the distinction is because I want people to understand that some people like to speak and they're, oh, I'm a public speaker. I don't want to work with people who just like to speak for fun. I work with people who want to speak in order to create an impact in the world, and they want to be paid for it. Right. And so those speakers, it can be, anybody. So it's not just women. It can be anyone who wants to be a speaker, who has some level of expertise, right? So not a person who's just like, oh, I just want to talk and I can talk about anything. What do you want me to talk about? No, somebody who has a real deep level of expertise, and that we can take that expertise and turn it into a signature program, a signature talk, something that you can really leverage to go out in the world and be paid for your knowledge. And so there are different ways that I work with speakers. I have different types of mentoring calls that you can do. And I also have my signature talk experience, where I work with you to develop your signature talk. You'll use a proprietary framework that I've created, and it's something that you'll be able to use ongoing. And once you learn how to develop your talk, what you'll understand is that that talk can be used to develop products and services. So other, coaching programs, you can write a book from it. You can do a masterclass, a retreat. You can do, the sky's the limit, right? You're only limited by your imagination when it comes to it, in terms of what you can do with your signature talk. So just wanted to lay that out, that those are the ways that those are who I work with, and those are the ways that I work with different people. So if you want to learn more, just go to kellycharlescollins.com. I'll put the link in the comments. So I'm just going to put my website, www.kellycharlescollins.com, and you can see all of the things. And one of the things that I'm also working on is I'm doing more digital products, because I know that sometimes people want information. They don't necessarily want a full-on program, or for perhaps like a corporation. They're like, oh, we want to see what you're up to first before bringing me in for a keynote or for training. So we are working on developing more on-demand resources. One of the things we're working on is creating some digital guides. So you'll see those coming out soon, and some other products. So you'll see a lot of stuff coming down the horizon, but I just wanted to give you a sense of those things and who I am. When you were talking about communication and being a high stakes communicator, I have spent the last almost 3 decades in high stakes situations, right? So whether it was being a trial lawyer, being an arbitrator, being a mediator, being an educator in higher education, being the momager for my son's hip hop group when he was a teenager, to running my own business, right? I constantly live in high stakes situations and have been successful in navigating them. Now, has it always been easy? No. It hasn't always been easy. And to this day, it's still not always easy. But what I do have is the skills to be able to navigate those when it comes up, like when that situation comes up and I realize we got to do something. I have the skills to do that. So I'm not going to go into all the skills around high stakes communications today, but I did want to talk to you about what I call the PSA for being powerful, not perfect. Now, as I mentioned, I am a perfectionist. Like, truly, 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 I am a perfectionist. I like things just so. But what I know about being a perfectionist is that it will slow you down, right? It will keep you from, excuse me, it'll keep you from doing the things that you know that you should be doing. It'll keep you from putting things out, just putting them out. Now, let me give this caveat. I am not one of those people who are just like, just put anything out there, just fake it till you make it. I know. Mm-mm. That's not what I'm talking about when I say be powerful, not perfect, and really work through our perfectionism. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really understanding the power of who you are and what you can accomplish and being fine with that and showing up, right? And not having to have every T crossed and every I dotted. And again, yes, you're talking to a lawyer. So obviously, that is part of why I'm such a perfectionist and why, yes, I am all about the T's and the I's, but I also know that if the T is like you just didn't get the other half, you might be all right, right? In terms of like putting something out there and not worrying so much about did the line go all the way across, right? The T. Did the dot go right above the I or is it over to the left? We can't worry about those things. We have to worry about being powerful. And so I wanted to give you this PSA about being powerful, not perfect. And this is something that I talk to my speakers about, all of my clients, when I'm working with them and having them go on stages or, showing up on social media, whether it's in writing or, they're showing up on video. It's like, just go out there. You know what you know. You're an expert in your field. You're a thought leader. Go put it out there. All right. So let's talk about PSA because PSA stands for something. It's an acronym. So the first P I want to talk about is positioning. This is the really important part, right? So I said I started my full-time entrepreneurial journey in 2020, and I started that in January, and we know that the world closed down in March. However, before I did that, before I started in January, I had been working on my business since August of 2018, right? So I had this idea that I wanted to transition out of the full time practice of law. I wanted to do something else. I knew that there was something more in life for me. And so I started in 2018 figuring out what did that look like and who did I want to be. So part of positioning is who do you want to be? Who do you want to be that for? What is the impact that you want to create? How are you going to create that impact? And a lot of the positioning is about the being, right? So in 2018, when I decided that I wanted to transition and I wanted to leverage my profession, right, to pursue my purpose, which was to be out here and helping people, I had to figure out who did I want to be in order to do that. And when I figured out who I wanted to be, that's what helped me with my positioning. That's what helped me with my branding, right? And so really understanding who I wanted to be, who I wanted to impact, who I wanted to work with. Now that's changed over time, like as I've grown and as I've learned, but just in the beginning, right, understanding those things was enough for me to put out into the world and position myself as, at that time, an unconscious bias expert. I still am an unconscious bias expert. I just don't teach on it as much as I used to, right? So I put myself out there. Now there were other things that I talked about. I also would talk about bystander intervention, which is what I did my TEDx on, and I also talked about workplace investigations because I did them for over 2 decades, and also I wrote my first book about workplace investigations. So I positioned myself though as an unconscious bias expert because that's what I wanted to lead with, right? I knew that I wanted to change I wanted to open people's hearts, right? I wanted them to understand how our words and our actions and our thoughts and our beliefs really impact other people, right? Impact them personally, impact them financially, impact them, health wise, impact their growth in their work. And so I did everything from 2018 to the time that I, transitioned to really position myself. And I did it while I was still working as a full-time lawyer, right? So a lot of my clients that I've worked with who are going into professional speaking are, some are still full-time like I was, some are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So maybe doing part-time corporate, part-time entrepreneurship. And then we have those who are full-time entrepreneurs. And it was, it's really important to understand that no matter where you are, you have to go all in and position yourself so that people understand who you are, what you're up to in the world, and how they can support you or how they can hire you. Okay. And I'm talking about this just in this general, in this specific piece. I'm referencing professional speakers, but it also applies to those of you who are in corporate and have zero desire to be a professional speaker or zero desire to be an entrepreneur. Who do you want to be in your organization? What is the impact that you want to create? Right? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself next year, 3 years, 5 years? Right? What is that thing? What is the vision that you have for your career? You have to then, once you know that, you have to think about, well, who do I need to be in order to get to those levels? How do I position myself to get there? Right? So positioning doesn't just apply to in this, as I was talking about with professional speakers, because that's who I am, right? In terms of one of the roles that I play in my business. However, it does also apply if you are in the corporate space, right? Positioning is everything for everybody everywhere, right? When you think about marketing, when you think about your favorite stores, when you think about your favorite brands, it's all about positioning. They have decided who they want to be as a brand, who it is that they're trying to go after as a brand, how they're going to do that, the messages that they're going to create, the visuals that they're going to give you so that they can attract you. That's the same thing that we have to do. We often don't think of ourselves as a brand. We just think of ourselves, if you're a solopreneur or if you are, a W-2 employee, you just think of yourself as that, right? You put this label on yourself and you don't think, no, I have a brand, right? I have a brand. Whether I'm, an individual contributor or I'm a leader with a title or I'm an entrepreneur, you are a brand and you have to start to brand yourself. And branding is part of positioning, right? So that's the first P of PSA of how to be powerful, not perfect. When you understand who you are, who you want to be in the world, who you want to impact, and how you're going to impact them, that is how you show up being powerful. And you understand that it doesn't require perfectionism and perfection in order to do that, to create the impact that you want to create in the world. It requires you to show up. It requires you to show up, do the things that you say that you're going to do for the people that you say that you're going to do it for, right? So that's the first thing, positioning in terms of being powerful, not perfect. The second is to have a signature style. Now, this is sort of part of branding, but I wanted to separate it because I want you to understand that having a signature style is important. Now, signature style, when we're talking about style, style can be anything. Style could be the clothes that you wear, the colors that you wear, your hair. It could be the way that you speak. It could be the way that you stand. It could be the way that you show up. It could be anything, right? It is your style. It is the thing that people see. What we have to understand is that when we walk into rooms or when we're anywhere, who we are, like who we show up as, our visual shows up before anything. If we walk into a room, we don't just walk into a room talking and people hear us or whatever. They see you. And when they see you, right, they make impressions about you. They make decisions about you. And so you want to have your own signature style so that it's a style that when people see it, they're like, oh, that's Kelly. That's Joey. That's Mary, right? That's Lakeisha, right? They know. You don't even have to be there. They just have to see something, right? Part of my signature style is my pink, this hot pink. And so when people see it, There's no question. If you're scrolling through your feed and you might see that pop of pink, you're probably going to be like, "Oh, that's Kelly." Unless there's somebody else, right, that that has that, you'll know that that's Kelly. I remember one of my a photographer who does a lot of has a videographer who did a lot of has done a lot of my videos. He was saying to me, he said, "If I see that pink, I know it's you." Right. Another signature for me now is that I wear Converse to speak, right? And I do that because my feet need to be comfortable, right? And so I decided to wear that. But think about, what is your signature style? Think about how you speak, right? How you use your voice. This I want to talk about because oftentimes what we do is we try to mimic what we see out there. We try to mimic gurus. We try to mimic the people that we think are doing well, right? Whether that's how they look and dress or how they sound. And I want to caution you against that. The reason that they succeed in doing that is because it's uniquely them. That's who they are, right? When you try to do it, you just look like you're trying to be them. It doesn't serve you, right? So you want to think about, what is your signature style? If you're in corporate, think about your signature style, also in terms of how you respond to people. When you respond to people, right? Are you timely in responding? Are you somebody who, they know that when they see you that you're going to speak to them? Like all the things that we do every single day, think about that as, how is that making an imprint in people's minds about who you are? That becomes part of what they think of as your style, right? You ever heard people say, "Oh, that's just their style," right? And usually it ain't a good thing when they say that, right? So, what you want to do is create your signature style so that people know, right? Part of my signature style is that I am who I am. I am the salt of the earth. What you see here is what you're going to see out in the streets. If you meet me on stage, if you saw me in court, I am who I am, right? And people know that. So they can trust that if they meet me, they didn't see something or see somebody on, video, that when you get in person and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm really friendly and I love to talk to people, whatever." And then in person, I'm just like, "Don't want to talk to you." Now I am an ambivert. So I will stand in the corner. They said nobody puts baby in the corner, but I will go stand, I will go stand in a corner or be off by myself, because that's part of, I don't like those types of situations. But if you come and speak to me, I'm going to speak to you, right? I am who I am. So think about how you show up in the world and how people are attributing that. Because what people will do is attribute your actions to you as a person, as opposed to attributing actions to behaviors, right? Behaviors people can separate from people. But if they've now attributed to you that you have this style, that's just your style, that's just how you do things, and it's not a good thing, then that's not a good thing for you. So think about what your style is. Be authentically you. Don't be afraid. Part of being powerful is understanding who you are, right? And being and understanding, like, what is my style? Who am I? How am I going to show up? And showing up that way. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect, right? I laugh sometimes because I've been on here where I forgot my eyebrows, right? And I just laugh because I don't worry about those things, right? And so, and people know that, right? I don't have to show up in a full face of makeup and no, I might have on a sweatshirt. I might be dressed up. I might have on makeup. If you see me with a full face of makeup, you know I didn't do it, right? Because that's not my style. But there are times when I do put on makeup if I'm going on TV or stuff like that. So think about what your signature style is and how you can show up powerfully with that style instead of trying to be perfect. And then the last thing about being powerful and not perfect is being somebody who's an action taker, right? We have to take action. So you can position yourself all you want. You can have all the style, signature style you want. But if you don't take action, if you don't do anything, what's the point? What's the point? And when we are perfectionists, this is the place where we fall down, right? This is the place, because we'll do all the things, we'll set up all the things, right? We'll be ready to go. But if it's not perfect, we're not going to take action. We're not going to take action to implement. We're not going to take action to put that vision out as a reality. So when I talk to you about the two experiences, you're going to see like I had to like get over myself and not be perfect and just put them out there, right? And be powerful. And what you'll know is that when you take imperfect action, it's not always going to work out exactly as planned, right? But it will work out. Whether it is that you learn something about, say you put out a new product or a service and it just doesn't do as well as you thought it was going to be. You're going to learn something about that. You're going to learn something about the process that you use to put it out there. You're going to learn something maybe about the messaging. You're going to learn something about you and how you did it. If you're in the corporate space and you there's a position that you want, or you want to be on a team, or you want to lead a meeting, or you want to do a presentation, whatever it is you want to raise, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait. If you wait, you're not going to get it. But if you say, listen, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take action towards it. If you don't get the raise, if you don't get on the team, if you don't get to do the presentation, you will learn again something about you. You'll learn something about the process. Perhaps there was something else that you needed to do. Perhaps there was somebody else that you needed to speak to. Perhaps there was a skill that you needed, right, in order to do that. Perhaps it wasn't the right time. But you will learn all of those things if you take action. If you don't and are waiting for the very perfect time, that perfect time will never come. Right? That perfect time will never come. Take it from a perfectionist who has to fight the power, right? He has to fight the power to be perfect. And so this is why I have really internalized for my own self to be powerful, not perfect. For me to, I talk to myself about that. I teach my clients about that, to be powerful and to not try to be perfect, because in that perfectionism, we will do nothing. We will not take action. And when we don't take action, we're going to get everything that we deserve. No, they say no risk, no reward, no action, no results. And so we have to get to the point where we just become action takers. Now, I want you to take calculated risks. I want you to take considered action. I don't want you to just go out and just do anything just because, oh, Kelly said I should be an action taker. No, I want you to take action with data, right? I want you to, and I want you to put out into the world things that you'll be proud of, right? Things that if somebody saw it, they would be like, that's Kelly's signature style. I understand who she is and what she's trying to do. Now, it may not do the actual thing, or it may, right? You'd be very surprised, but you have to do it in order to see and get the feedback so that you can make it better, going forward the next time, or that you can pull it, right? Because sometimes you put stuff out or you take action on something, and the lesson that you learn is that, yeah, that really wasn't the thing I was supposed to do. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do it that way. That really didn't hit the market that I thought I was going to. Maybe I shouldn't. That wasn't the position really that I was looking for, or what I thought it was. I went through the interview process, and I'm like, and they're telling me what the job is. I'm like, that ain't it, right? But had you not done the things, you would never know this. You would never get that feedback. You would never get that information, that data that allows you to then go and reassess, reevaluate, revamp, right? Or you got the good data and you're like, yes, I'm so glad I did this. I am so glad I put this out here. Let's keep going. Let's do more of this. Let's keep doing it again, right? And so the only way that you get that feedback, the only way that you get that data is through action. So, PSA, in order to be powerful, not perfect, right, is positioning, signature style, and being an action taker. So that's easy, right? You can remember that. You can remember positioning, signature style, be an action taker. So how does that relate to what I was talking about with ugh, I just got tongue tied. See, not perfect. Um, with these 3 tips, 2 experiences, and the 1 mission. So, I'm going to talk to you about these 2 experiences that I have going on right now that you can be a part of with me that will help you to not just listen to me talk about PSA, right? And how to be powerful and not perfect, but actually engage in interactive, immersive activities that will allow you to implement things, implement strategies and tips and frameworks that I use with my clients to help them really, really internalize how to be powerful and not perfect. So, talking about 2 experiences. One is my high stakes arena, which you maybe have seen on my post. The high stakes arena is about communication skills. Is it a communication skills interactive immersive experience over 3 days here in Orlando, Florida next month, right? So that's one experience that we're going to talk about. The second I launched yesterday. So today is the 19th. So if you on the 18th, I launched on my LinkedIn my community called After Hours, which is all about women. So it's where women unwind, unleash, uplift, and unite, right? And that came out of my desire again to really support women and my my wish to create a place that I wish I had years ago, right? When I was a lawyer practicing and needing to have a safe space and needing to have a community and place where you could go and talk about the things that were impacting you, and there was no judgment, and there was support, and there was sisterhood and all the things. So I didn't have that. I know that a lot of women need that, and so I created it, right? So I'm going to talk to you about those 2 things. So both of those, however, if if I was to lean into my perfectionism, neither one of those would be out in the world right now. None. They would not. Right? So high stakes arena is something that I created because I wanted to make sure that learning was fun. And I wanted to think about how do we leverage our communication skills in a way that somebody's not just talking to you and giving you information, but you're learning about communication, you're understanding the power of the skills, and then you're implementing them. And I came up with high stakes arena because when I think about high stakes, obviously there's something at risk. And I think about the arena, this is where we play, right? Arenas are where we play. Arenas are where we put our best foot forward. Arenas are where, people come together and they're at their best, right? They're leveraging all of their power and their strength, whether you're playing football or soccer or tennis or, what else is there? Boxing, whatever the heck there is, right? In terms of sport, right? The arena is where we go. Javelin, jousting, all the things. And so I wanted to pull those things together. And I remember when I was in law school, I had a class called Courtroom as Theater. It was one of my favorite classes. And I loved it because it was the place that we got to implement what we were learning. In law school, they don't teach you to be a lawyer. They teach you to think. They teach you to analyze. They teach you to synthesize, which I thank them for it, right? But it doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer. But that particular course did teach me how to be a lawyer, how to show up in court, right? How to try cases. And so for me, that idea of immersive, interactive learning, where you're taking what you've been told and actually doing it, is what allows us to really internalize and quote unquote perfect perfect our skills, right? And it's not about being perfect as opposed to perfecting, right? That's different. It's not about being perfect, but once you perfect your skills, right, then you can show up powerfully. And so the high stakes arena is for anyone to come who really understands the power of communication. Communication is the number one business skill, right? Don't get it twisted when they talk about, oh, it's a soft skill, so maybe it's not that important. Oh, believe me, it's very important. We communicate every single day. We communicate verbally, we communicate in writing, we communicate visually, we communicate non-verbally. Every single thing that we do is a communication. Every communication is high stakes. There's always something at risk or at stake, right, in a communication. And so you have to learn how to really navigate spaces and be in that and be powerful, right? So high stakes arena was built for that. It's built for you to understand and to learn communication skills, right? To help you to navigate through all the spaces, whether you're in the corporate space, whether you're an individual contributor, whether you're a leader in that space with a title, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're, professional speaker as an entrepreneur, the ability to communicate is vitally important. So High Stakes Arena is happening. Let me find the link for you. High Stakes Arena is happening in October 23rd through the 25th in Orlando, Florida. It's live in person. You get to be with me. You get to learn from me. We get to right? Interact with each other. All you have to do is go to highstakesarena.live. Highstakesarena.live. Now, I was talking about, right? Power over perfection. I told you that I would not have released High Stakes Arena. I would be trying. Listen, there's so many more things that I want to do with High Stakes Arena and things that I think about that, how I could put it out. And the truth is, I've put High Stakes Arena out and it's not doing what I want it to do, right? I don't have as much of the interest as I had hoped to have. And some of that is I have to work on the marketing and all of that, right? But I would not know that if I didn't put it out. It would just be me here in my office creating all the pretty things that I like to do, creating all of the, the backgrounds and the this and the that, and not having put it out there in the world to see how people are going to respond to it. Right now, it will probably be I know it'll be a smaller crowd, right? Or audience than I was thinking was going to be there. But no matter what, guess what? I'm showing up October 23rd through the 25th to do High Stakes Arena. Why? Because the people who decided and who've raised their hand, and you still have time to raise your hand, just go to highstakesarena.live and join me. They're going to get everything. You're going to get everything, right? Because no matter what, I don't care if it's one person in a room or 6 million people in the room. My job is to show up in all of my power and give you what I said I was going to give you. When I did it, I didn't say I'm only going to give it, right? And this is for you too, a lesson for you, that you're not just going to give everything if there's only this number of people. But if it's this number of people, y'all ain't getting all that. No. Whoever is there, whoever decides that elevating their communication skills is important, is a priority as we go into 2025, oh, they're going to get all the goods, get all the gems, right? And if we have a smaller group, then they just get more interaction, right? But if you really understand the power of communication and you know that your skills need to be up leveled, then you need to be at this experience, right? You need to be at the High Stakes Arena in October, and you just need to go to highstakesarena.live. Also, if you know that your teams, many of you manage teams, and the communication and I know that the communication is bad. You know how I know? Because I used to represent your organizations, right? And the reason that you all will be in my office is because of lack of communication or miscommunication. So I know that there's a problem with communication in workplaces. That for me is like, I know that 100%. I have no doubt about that. Now it's for you to really understand that and understand that it can be changed and it doesn't have to be that way. And it's going to take you investing in your employees in order to do that. Right. And so teams are welcome at High Stakes Arena. Just DM me or email me, reach out to me somehow to get the team rate. But I'm telling you that communication skills They're going to make or break your organization. They're going to make or break your career. And so if you want to make sure that you're ahead of the game, that you're in control of what happens to you, you're in control of your success, then you need to join me. And I know some people are like, well, my company won't pay for it. Don't worry about that. They let's see, McKinsey and Lean just released a report. Companies ain't paying for you. It's in there, right? It's in there. Companies are not really providing the support. And it says, particularly for women of color and Black women, you're not getting the support. You're not getting the mentorship. They're not paying for you to do that. So you have to fund your own success, right? So believe me, the price for High Stakes Arena, the investment is low, too low, but it is what it is. So go to highstakesarena.live and join me. That's one experience, right? So come in Orlando, get on a plane, get in your car, whatever, come with me live in Orlando. The other experience is after hours. Now, after hours is for women, right? So High Stakes Arena is for anyone. After hours is for women. I wanted to create a space where women could come together and talk about the things that are impacting their life, their living, their legacy, right? So we're going to be talking about everything. We've put out our first 3 dates. So for October, November, December, we have themes for those dates for you to come, and what's going to happen in these sessions. My vision for this, and it will, grow, and as we get feedback, again, getting feedback, it may change, but my vision right now is that the structure of it will be that we'll have maybe somebody do a presentation, or there'll be a fireside chat, or there'll be a panel. But mostly what this is going to be about is what we call collabosourcing. Now, collabosourcing is a word that I coined, and it means to leverage your expertise, your resources, and your relationships to build your business, your brand, and your badassery. So collabosourcing is my form of networking, because I hate networking. So it's my form of how we can come together, because you can start to look at, right? We're always thinking about, well, what do I talk about? Well, we got to think about, do I need to up level my skills? Do I need some expertise in order to plan out my vision, to reach my vision? Do I need some type of resource, right? Different from skill sets, but do I need some type of resource? Do I need funding? Do I need equipment, right? What do I need? Or do I need relationships? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to be connected to? And so those will be the pillars that we use when we're talking about collabosourcing, and for people to get to know each other, so that it makes the space useful, right? This is not going to be a bitch fest. This is not going to be where we come and just vent and just keep on going, and every day we vent. No, we don't do that. We can vent, right? We can vent, but we have to find solutions, right? I am a solution oriented person. If there's a problem, we need to find a solution. We need to come up with a strategy so that we can do better, right? And then obviously there'll be Q&A. So it's really a place, again, I call it after hours because it's after work, right? It's on Tuesdays. It'll be on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It's virtual on Zoom. So if you can't make it to High Stakes Arena, but you're like, oh, Kelly, I want to be in that space, hey, just come on in. It's really inexpensive for the value. You can come to one session, you can come to two, you can come to all three, and there's a bundle price for all three. Right now, we just have the three. We will add more dates as we go forward. But this, again, is a space for women to really come together, to just woosah, right? To unwind, to unleash, to uplift each other, to unite, right? We have got to work together to make this world a better place for each of us. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be in trouble, right? So let me stop this ticker, and I'm going to put the ticker up here for after hours. So after hours, oh Lord, I spelled it wrong. Hold on, y'all. Hide. Because I was just going to say to you, after hours is actually spelled differently. So hours is spelled Houhers, right? A play on it being for women. So let me, I just saw that I did the link wrong. So let me add this. Okay. So for after hours, Just go to after hours, HOUHERS dot kellycharlescollins.com. Easy. The other easy way is just go to, you can go to kellycharlescollins.com, go under events, click, you'll see it there. But after hours is a virtual experience. It will be live. It starts at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays, whenever the dates are. The dates that we have coming up are October 8th. So October 8th, our theme is going to be fall fashion. So we'll have a theme every month, so it'll be fun. So October 8th is fall fashion. November 5th is chucks and pearls, right? Yes, it's election day, and that's a perfect day for us to come together. And then December is winter white. And so I'll be coming up with the other dates shortly. The other thing is that when you go to register, it's $22. Each session is $22, or if you do all three sessions, that's $50. But you also have the opportunity to upgrade your order and get an after hours journal. Now, this will be exclusive for after hours. You won't be able to buy it anywhere else. I'm in the process of designing it. Yes, the perfectionist in me is designing that journal, but you will get the opportunity, and it's an actual print journal. So it will be mailed to your house. You'll be able to go through it and write in it and do whatever you want with it. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so that's the other experience. Now back to, power over perfection. This would not have come out yesterday, but for my very good friend, Dr. Renee Baker, being like, ma'am, put it out. I've had this idea for months. For months, I've been putting notes in my phone. I've been, putting all the things, or I want to do this. I've been talking to her about it. I've been saying, oh, I really want to do this thing. I've mentioned it to other people, and they're like, do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. So yesterday, she called me around 10:40 in the morning, and she said something told her that she needed to call me and talk to me. And I said, oh, good, because I really did need to talk to you. And so we just started chatting, and we were having this conversation, and I was talking to her about, saying again about after hours. And she was like, I need you to put it out there today. Mind you, y'all, I had nothing. I had notes in my phone. That's it. I have notes in my phone. But she told me that it needed to go out. She was going to the spa, and she told me that after hours needed to be put out into the world yesterday. Again, this is 10:40 in the morning. We're having this conversation. And by 4 o'clock, after hours, probably a little bit after 4 o'clock Eastern time, after hours was launched. So everything that you see, if you go look on the graphics, if you go through the whole sales process, right, of signing up, if you get the emails afterwards, the email sequence, all that stuff I did between the time that I got off the phone with her, which was probably 11 something, and the time that it was launched after 4 o'clock. Why? Because I had to believe in power over perfection. I had to believe that this idea that I had, and that has just been burning in my soul, needed to go out. And she was the catalyst that pushed me, right? I told y'all I'm good. I'm good with the P positioning. I'm good with the signature style, the S. The action taking is where we fall off. And so her push yesterday made me take action. And I put it out there in the world, and I have gotten so much great positive response. And we have women who have already signed up, which I'm so excited about. And so October 8th, we're going to do it. October 8th is our launch of After Hours. And this to me is about a movement, right? Some of you know that I had a community called Ladies Who Leverage that I started during the pandemic. And that also was a movement, right? And we always say that, like, Ladies Who Leverage is a movement. And some of the women still wear their t-shirts and all that. So yeah, we'll have merch. Like, oh, we're going to have merch. Just wait, we're going to have merch. But After Hours is going to be its own container, its own movement. And so I want all of you women to come in. It's open to all women, right? So come on in, let's work together. Let's take on the world, right? Let's create our life, our living, our legacy. Let's take control and stop waiting for other people to decide what we're able to do, what we're able to go to, whether or not they're going to pay, right, and give us the money to go to do the things that are going to elevate us personally and professionally. So you have two experiences that you can choose from. One is the high stakes arena. It's $1,800, right? 3 days in Orlando. We're going to learn, you're going to elevate your communication skills. That's one. The other option is after hours, which is $22. So if you just want to dip your toe in, you can come to after hours, right? Starts at $22 for one session. Come jump in with me. So those are two experiences. Do one, do both, but don't do none. I'll just say to you, don't do none. Right. So last part before I go is after hours, and I'll drop the links. I will drop the links for everything in the comments. So let me do that now before I forget. But the last thing, so we did 3 tips, right? So our 3 tips were the PSA, so positioning, signature style, and action taking. The 2 experiences were our high stakes arena and after hours, and then the one mission. The one mission is the mission that I am on. And the mission that I am on is to ensure that women's value is not erased. And so that is why I'm doing the things that I do. That is why I do the work that I do, is to make sure that women's value is not erased. Now, you may say, Kelly, in the beginning, you talked about, working with corporations and, there's not only women in corporations, and you talked about high stakes arena and high stakes arena not being just for women. You're right. You're right. I work with everyone in different aspects, but my legacy work, my mission, the reason that I do what I do, whether I'm working with women or anybody else, the reason that I do that is because I want to make sure that we can amplify, elevate, and affirm the voices and the expertise of women, right? And so sometimes that means being in spaces where it's not just women, because other people, right? Men and those who identify differently, right? Those who are non-binary, everyone has to understand how powerful, in my opinion, right? My belief, how powerful women are. And when we don't take control of that for ourselves, when we don't understand how to show up powerfully for ourselves, we can't help other people help us, right? So we have allies, we have advocates who want to help us. But if they don't know who you are, what you stand for, what your style is, what is that thing about you, and that if they put their reputation, their name on the line for you, then you're actually going to take action, right? So yes, we have to be in combined spaces sometimes, right? As we work through things, and communication skills is for everybody. So yes, obviously high stakes arena and the work that I do with corporations is for everybody, because communication skills has no gender, right? But I shouldn't say but, and communication skills and the way that women communicate or learn to communicate is different, right? The way that we have to communicate, right? And so sometimes it requires focused up leveling, so that we can work through the things that we as women uniquely experience, so that we understand how to navigate those spaces and how to leverage communication to do that. So when I am talking about women, when I'm talking about being on this mission, let's see, when I'm talking about being on this mission, it is because I understand that in the world as women, we experience things differently, right? And sometimes we need a safe, closed space in order to deal with that. And it is about focus. When we do that, it's about focus, not exclusion. So I have put both of these links. I have to see if on LinkedIn it's there. If not, because it's just showing up as YouTube. But I will go on LinkedIn and make sure that you have the links for High Stakes Arena, and that you also have the link for After Hours. Please share this with anybody that you know that needed to hear this, that needed the PSA, that needs to, be at these experiences. excuse me, to understand my mission, please share, right? Tag and share. Let me know your comment, like your thoughts, your comments, whether you're watching this. If you're watching this on replay, let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions about either high stakes arena or about after hours, let me know. If you're thinking, Kelly, I would really like to work with you, but those two things right now are not what I'm thinking, then reach out to me, right? Because there's other ways that I work with people. Like I said, I have on-demand resources. I also do mentoring calls, right? I do keynotes and workshops and all the things. So if you want to work with me and you're thinking, well, these two experiences, Kelly, are not it right now, let's have a discussion, right? Don't just be like, oh, well, that's not for me and just keep it moving. No, action taking, right? Be powerful, not perfect, means positioning, it means signature style, it means action taking. So the actions that I'm going to ask you to take right now is one, to sign up for high stakes arena or after hours or both. And if neither of those two experiences speak to your soul in this moment, however, I do, right? You feel that I am your person and that I can help move you forward around your communication, whether it's as a somebody in the corporate space or you want to be a professional speaker, then just go to kellycharlescollins.com and reach out to me or email me at kelly@kellycharlescollins.com. All right, y'all. That's it for now. That's it. I decided I was going to be powerful, not perfect today. And that's what I'm going to do every single day. And I hope the same for you. So until next time, take care.